Professor Eric Abercrombie have to say on this issue?
I think the impact of slavery on black Americans has been astounding. But the other point that I want to make is I think that the impact of slavery was not just negative on black people in America, but I think white people also, whether they're for us or against us, have been impacted by this systematic oppression that I feel no other people on the planet have faced the way we have faced this in America. I think psychologically, certainly, there's no question that today I think many of the problems that we still have as a people are as a result of the impact of slavery. I think what slavery did was place us into a traditional thought pattern of feeling like that we were not as good as other people, that we certainly could not achieve. And, you know, I think the most devastating impact is one of self-hatred, because I do think that is a psychological process that many black folk go through in America, if not most, in some part of their lifetime. No, I don't think it's ignorance. We have people who are more formally educated than ever, who do understand economics. They do understand capitalism. I think there are a number of issues that get in the way of why it is as a people that our money seems to come into our community, as people say, for 4 hours and then go out. One of those things, as we hear all the time, is because I think people truly believe that the white man's ice is colder. And in terms of turning over dollar, we feel that we can make more money through working through their system than rather come together and working through our own. So when you look at the issue of economics, we have more people going to high school, more people graduating from high school, more people going to college, more people graduating from college, more people working in the corporate structure. I think one of the real problems is that we tend not to really understand what capitalism is all about. It's a dog-eat-dog kind of economic foundation, that you get ahead at the expense of other people. And I think what's unfortunate, too many black people have embraced that. And in embracing this whole idea of the way I get ahead is at the expense of someone else, even if they look like you, even if they've been through the same oppressive conditions that you've been in, it makes no difference, because the almighty dollar is what it's all about. So no, I don't think it's complete ignorance, but at the same time, I think that is a problem. I think too many of us, too many of our people, we really do not understand the true impact and importance of money in this society. You know, racism and capitalism go hand in hand. They both work with each other. Well, I think there are several reasons. One, we'll go back to the issue of being more educated about economic order. You know, once we finally learn something about an economic system, the game always changes. And so I think the issue of education as a people, us going on and achieving more education, is certainly one issue. I think the whole issue of institutional racism is real. I don't think that the fact that white people's wealth is 10 times more than black folks' wealth, and we look at the world, how can 10% of the world, which is white, control the other 90%, is by chance. I think that is systematic white superiority at its best. And the way it works is, if you control the mind, if you already get a people through slavery, if you already get a people to think that they're not about anything, they don't look like anything, they can't contribute anything, then that becomes a great deal of the battle. And when you can instill that generation after generation after generation, and in the process you're denying people education, you're denying people ways to feed their family, you're denying people a way to stay together as man and wife, then that really helps the grounding of the battle. So another concept that really, I think, influences why things seem to have reverted to the negative becomes a part of systematic oppression, a process called divide and rule. White people have known historically, divide the community in any kind of way, whether it be by having them argue about lip size, complexion, whether it be about hair texture, that once people argue those points and they divide themselves, and the people in power rule. So, you know, I think that becomes really real. And then people who are oppressed tend to be diverted too easily. We tend to settle for the smallest things, so we're bought out very easily. And in divide and rule, what happens is, if you buy a black bank, if you start a black bank and someone out here sees it's working, then what the white man does is come along and say, you know what, tell you what, I like to have that bank, but what I want you to do, I want you to go back into your community, and I want you to take that bank. Don't let people know that I'm the one backing you. All I want to do is see the books. And so I think that the process that's happened historically as to why it is that we seem to have more banks before and not now, these become some reasons. And then I go back to what I said again. I think that people, even who are black, who are in a capitalistic system, believe that the white man's ice and money is colder and spends more. So if people think, where can I make more money? They don't think with each other. They think the best way I get my return is put my money in a black bank, you know. Put my money in a white bank, you know, shop, you know, in a white store. That mentality goes on and on. It's an old-time saying that I think is realistic here. And it really answers some of that question. And it's this old saying, you know, if you're brown, you can hang around. You know, if you're yellow, you're mellow. If you're white, you're all right. But if you're black, you can get back. And I think that's the same kind of philosophy that influences the economic development of our communities to the negative. Well, I think we're one of the biggest consumers because, like any human beings, we like things. And there's nothing wrong with that. The issue is not our consuming. The issue is what we consume the most of and who gets the benefits from it. For example, if people say we eat more potato chips than anybody, we drink more beer than anyone, we wear this, we wear that. I think that's fine. That's why people work. That is a result of capitalism. A result of capitalism is that people can have. Black people do not have to take a vow of poverty. I think that's a problem within our community. We have people in our community, if they have not achieved, other black people, then they don't want to see other black people. So as black people, we have this thought in our minds that money is the devil. No, it depends on how you spend that money. So, I just think that that becomes a reason why that exists.